Hello, it's Terhi from Terhi's Paper Art. Let's make a floral shadow box this time. I have already fussy cutted some images that I'm going to use, and you can cut these flowers and insects and fruits, etc. from books and different kinds of sources. I've used some of my papers and cut the images out, and then I will use gold embossing powder, and here are the frames that I'm using as to create this 3D effect shadow box, flat shadow box for junk journals. And I will add all the links to these items down below. There's some gold dust over there, but these are the papers that I've pre-cut, and let's gather all the gold dust so that nothing goes to waste. And then I'm going to use a hot gun. I will show it to you. I have this kind of large tool and it makes so much noise that I'm not going to video that part. I will save your ears from that noise. But first of all, cut, for example, 4 frames that are each of them are smaller than the other. For example, if we could make one larger piece, and maybe 3 parts would be good for that, and then one smaller item with perhaps four parts. I will put them together so that I can make an estimation about how many pieces I want. But the point with this little video is that I'm going to try to make this gold frame, inner frame, more shiny with the help of this embossing powder. Let's add some more gold and shine to it. For that I have decided to use this watermark resist that I'm not using as a watermark resist, and it's a bit dried up. As you can see, it's quite old, but it still works for this embossing work. And I'm using this tool. So let's take, for example, this frame. Actually, we have to take let me think about it. I'm not going to gild each of these, or should I? Maybe just the one that is left on the front. Let's try that first. Let's gild this largest one. Add some of that resist to the inner edges, and be sure not to add it to the other part, to the black part, so that it won't go smudgy. Then add this gold powder. And next the heat gun. Okay, this is the result. Even though I tried to be very careful, it went a little bit over the edges. It looks interesting, but if you want to have even clearer result, this one is also a bit more smudgy. Of course, I realized what you have to do. Or this piece, if this is what you're going to make, you would need, the largest one is the difficult, more tricky one. You should make a mask for it, but if you're using the next size, you can use this one as a mask. Just turn it around like this, and let's see now, is it this? Yes, it's the, maybe let's try the easiest way to show you this is to pick even smaller one. And I think we will need some masking tape to attach this. There are always some little tricky parts on this. These are paper crafts, but of course you can solve them while you continue crafting. Let's see now if this is enough. Let's try this. Now the resist. And we'll just have to make a larger mask for the largest one. It's very easy, but I will first show you how this works. Hopefully it's now been nicely down so that it won't get too smudgy. Then the powder and on the paper. And carefully, do not tear it. Oi oi, I made a mess. But I will fix it. Let's leave it like that. We're just going to demonstrate the gold part, the gilding of the edges. Paper crafting is tricky sometimes. There. That looks good. I will go to the heat gun. I'll be right back. Look at that. Gorgeous. One piece that is left without gold, but it doesn't matter. I think it looks old and gorgeous. And I got the tape off. I just need a bit of glue there and it's all mended. There, fixed. This looks good. Then I got another idea. Embossing powder with some stamps. So let's take another strip here. And while we're at it, let's make the mask for this largest one. I will just attach it to the background, to the paper that I'm going to use as mask, and draw around this opening. Then remove the frame and make an approximate measurement. This is about the width of the golden frame, and that's what we want to be visible so that we can add the resist on it and then the gold embossing powder. So we're just eyeballing around here. To make a mask and then cut it out. I realized that eyeballing was not enough, so plan B. We need to cut this exact item out and then cut the exact measurements there. I was too hopeful. This will be our mask. This is the largest frame, and let's double check that it's the same size. Yes, this is the same size. And now cut the exact line here between the black and the gold, the outer line. There. This is the mask, and let's double check. Yes, that's the exact size. Now it's working. Save this for later. There. Now the resist. And the embossing powder. looks good. Now the heat gun. Perfect result. That worked very well. And now to the actual work of that shadow box. But before that, the stamping that I was talking about earlier. I'm using Makistamps, this beautiful border stamp, and let's stamp these corners. It will look like lace, golden lace. I did one here and it will look gorgeous when I use the heat gun on it. I will gather this later. Oh my, look at this. It's quite gorgeous. It's going to look wonderful on as the last layer on top of the shadow box. Oh my, oh my. And clean up your stamp if you use this. It's very sticky and you don't want to ruin your stamp. I'm going to make 2 shadow boxes and each of them has 3 layers. This larger one has all the parts gilded. Put the smallest one on the back and then the next and then the largest one on top. And this smaller one I only have gilded the top part, and I'm going to add a little bit of gold with gold ink. It will add some shimmer, not much but some. Then you will need a background, and I'm using this thin cardstock, and I will cut this image so that it will go on top of that cardstock. Use the smallest frame to see what part you want on the background and glue it down. I'm going to trim these last after I have added the layers of these items and after I see how they will fit in. Now just choose some items and first try to add them so that you can see how they fit, and use different layers, something like this maybe. And for this one I thought about the snail. Let's put this, for example, over there, and the snail like that, and then the top. And you will need 3D sticker tape to add some distance in between these layers. And one more addition, I will use the gold ink to these edges too. It will add some shimmer and look very beautiful. You could use the embossing powder too, but this time I'll use this ink. Little bit of shimmer. And I forgot to mention that I have glued these images on a thicker paper or a thin cardstock. So it was still easy to fussy cut, but they are more sturdy this way. And easier to ink. There. I've added some 3D tapes here, and now I will add this flower in between these layers like that. There's 2 pages and 1 flower on the background. And next we will add these, the leaf. Maybe I should cut it. It fits in better that way. The little bud and the flower, the leaf here. And lastly, this cover. Actually, the background is just the right size. I don't have to trim it at all. See how the gold shimmers on the edges. I think it's beautiful. This would look gorgeous on a book cover or inside a journal, and such a wonderful card too if you add this on a card base. So many uses. See what I mean? I love it. I hope you like it too. Then this smaller one, the same thing, background, and then adding these items layer by layer, and then the most beautiful part on top. And the cover. And this one needs trimming. There. There's a 3D effect, and it looks beautiful. Also, it would work very nice on a card background, card basis. Maybe add some gold over there, black and gold, classic combination. That would look fine, just fine. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.